The end of a good person who acts incorrectly is more tragic than that of a petty person 100 times over. Do you believe it? Therefore, do not interfere in others' affairs. Remember, a noble person does not save. Otherwise, the consequences could range from losing your home to losing your life. After reading the story below, you will understand that your kindness, compassion, and empathy could be the very reasons that push you into the abyss. During the spring and autumn period, King Qi Mei fell ill with a strange disease. Many skilled physicians tried and failed to cure him, using every method imaginable. Then, a talented physician named Wen Zhi appeared. He knew how to cure King Qi Mei. The cure required making King Qi Mei furious, allowing him to vent his anger, which would then heal him. Upon hearing this, the crown prince immediately sought out Wen Zhi, hoping he could save the king. However, Wen Zhi knew he was just a commoner. If he made the king angry, even if the king recovered, Wen Zhi's life would be in danger. The crown prince, concerned about Wen Zhi's fears, promised to protect him and begged him to save the king, assuring him that no matter what, he would be spared. Seeing the crown prince's sincerity, Wen Zhi agreed. He instructed the crown prince to return first and tell King Qi Mei that he was a divine physician, humble yet extraordinarily skilled. After that, the king would personally invite him. The crown prince followed Wen Zhi's instructions. King Qi Mei summoned Wen Zhi 3 times before he reluctantly arrived. Upon arrival, Wen Zhi did not remove his shoes and stepped on the king's pillow, then began to insult him. He not only scolded the king but also his father and mother, calling the king a lazy and incompetent ruler who had raised a useless son. These words enraged King Qi Mei to the point where he wanted to behead Wen Zhi. But as the king's anger flared, his illness immediately improved. The crown prince saw that his father had truly recovered. However, King Qi Mei's rage could not be contained. Despite the crown prince's pleas, King Qi Mei decided to execute Wen Zhi by boiling him alive. This story shows us that, as mentioned earlier, a noble person does not save. Once you show compassion and try to help, you may very well put yourself in danger. For example, if you see someone drowning but don't know how to swim, it's better not to jump in to save them. Otherwise, you could lose your life. I know your life is busy. Still, what I'm saying isn't easy to digest. Especially, it's hard to grasp if you only hear it once. My advice is to watch until the end. Listen to it repeatedly during your free time or while doing household chores. Share and save the playlist for your convenience. I guarantee that within a few short months, your thinking will advance to a new level. The ancients' wisdom greets you all. Saving others must be based on your own abilities. Others' lives are lives, but your life is also a life. Of course, you can stand on moral high ground and say that I lack humanity or compassion. But I want to say that finding a mutually beneficial way to help others is the best choice. Protect yourself while helping others. In the story, Wen Zhi knew there was a tiger in the den, but he still entered because of his compassion. Even though he saved the king, he could not escape his fate. A wise person can see that Wen Zhi was walking into a trap he couldn't avoid. In life, we often encounter similar situations. If you don't want to fall into ruin or lose everything, remember these 3 things. First, weigh the pros and cons before entering the game. People say, high aspirations, great courage. But even so, you shouldn't risk your life blindly. Knowing that entering the game is dangerous but not considering it carefully is not confidence but arrogance. Truly intelligent people always weigh the pros and cons before making any decision. Even in unavoidable situations, like Wen Zhi in the story. He lost his life because he didn't consider carefully. If he cured the king, at most, he would receive some reward. This might change his life, bringing him better days. But if things went wrong, he could lose his life. The difference between the reward and the risk was enormous, completely disproportionate. Exchanging your life for gold is gambling with your life. And he lost. Therefore, before entering the game, we need to learn from Wen Zhi and always analyze 2 things. First, the benefits. What can you gain from entering the game? Can this benefit be achieved in another way? These are things to consider. If this is the only path and you must achieve it, then even a tiger's den must be entered. If the power is greater than the virtue, it implies hidden dangers. Entering a game where others are unaware, the uncertainty is immense. Just a little thought reveals more danger than safety, more risk than reward. This means you must think carefully before acting and be even more cautious. Otherwise, once you enter, you will be controlled by others without a chance to resist. For example, in today's society, most small companies are swallowed by large enterprises. Especially small companies in the same industry, survival is extremely difficult. When they grow to a certain scale, facing the siege and suppression from large enterprises, small companies have only two paths: bankruptcy or acquisition. In business, these games happen daily. Small companies cannot compete with large ones and often have to compromise, trying to negotiate for the best deal and accepting acquisition. But at least they try their best to get what they can. Second, consider the risks before participating. Before entering the game, Wen Zhi actually considered the risks, but he didn't take them seriously. The reason was that he trusted the crown prince's promise too much and underestimated the king's anger and bloodlust. As a result, he was boiled to death. No matter when, before entering the game, remember these three principles. 1. Protecting your own interests is the top priority. For example, if you see an old lady fall, should you help? You can help, but be sure to record a video and keep evidence. Otherwise, if you encounter a bad person with ill intentions, you won't be able to defend yourself and may lose money unjustly. Before making a decision, think of yourself first. Your kindness, compassion, and empathy could be the reasons for your failure. 2. The choice is crucial. This is like a multiple-choice question. What is more important? Life or money? For Wen Zhi, perhaps he thought money was more important, so he chose to risk his life. In the end, he didn't achieve glory and wealth but lost his life. In short, once the risk outweighs the benefit, we need to be cautious when participating and prepare thoroughly. 3. Prepare before entering the game. Whether weighing the pros and cons or considering the risks, all are preparations for the game. Before danger occurs, think of a strategy. That's what a far-sighted person does. For example, before the king decided to boil Wen Zhi, what should Wen Zhi have done to turn the situation around and eliminate the king's murderous intent? If Wen Zhi had claimed that the king's illness wasn't fully cured and required continuous treatment, otherwise, it would be life-threatening, would the king dare to gamble with his life? I believe most people wouldn't dare. In short, after entering the game, always hold a card in hand to control the situation and restrain the opponent. This way, not only can you gain the initiative, but you can also minimize harm to yourself. If the king had truly kept his promise as the crown prince said and spared Wen Zhi, everyone would have been happy. But if the king didn't keep his promise, you couldn't let yourself be controlled by others. You must protect yourself. In such times, even if you offend the king, it's better than losing your life. In fact, in today's business competition, for example, before a company joins a project, they will plan ahead and prepare multiple contingency plans. In short, they consider all possible scenarios before making a tight conclusion. Only then can they ensure accuracy and profit for each investment. Otherwise, no matter how big the company or how large the capital, it could go bankrupt. Therefore, when you face the choice of whether to enter the game, remember the three principles above. Next, when dealing with petty people, don't lose your temper. Use these three tricks to make them suffer heavy consequences. Remember, don't offend people who have no conflict of interest with you. Otherwise, you could lose money or even your life. If you still don't understand, read the story below, and you will see. Once upon a time, there was a wealthy man. One day, he crossed a single plank bridge and happened to meet a beggar coming from the opposite direction. The two met in the middle of the bridge. The wealthy man, in a hurry to get home, lowered his stance, hoping the beggar would let him pass first. But the beggar not only refused but also mocked the wealthy man, saying he should go first. The wealthy man thought his polite attitude would make the beggar sympathetic, but instead, the beggar was unreasonable. He even spoke rudely. The wealthy man thought of his own situation, with a wife and children and wealth as high as a mountain, while the beggar had nothing. If he angered the beggar, who knew what the beggar might do? To avoid trouble, the wealthy man thought for a moment, then smiled and said, "It's okay, you go first." After that, the beggar went everywhere, boasting. He said the wealthy man treated him like a grandson, both afraid and respectful. The wealthy man was famous in the area. This incident spread, causing him to lose face. So, he devised a plan. He told everyone in the city that the beggar had once helped him. Therefore, he gave the beggar 10 taels of silver as a reward. The beggar was completely confused, but seeing the silver, he was naturally very happy. While the beggar was rejoicing, that night he was robbed. Not only did he lose the silver, but he also lost his life. This incident shocked the entire city, and everyone felt regret. Therefore, in life, we should avoid offending people who have no conflict of interest with us. Because you don't know what the other person is plotting or what kind of person they are. There's a saying, a heart with mountains and rivers does not compete, staying away from trouble. It means avoiding trouble. Don't seek trouble like the beggar. In the end, you harm yourself. On the contrary, the wealthy man, with his wealth, power, and wisdom, was the real winner. Because when faced with danger, he cleverly devised a plan to avoid risk and solve the problem. 3 key points in the wealthy man's strategy. Key point 1, plan according to the situation. The wealthy man's plan was forced by the beggar's slander and harm to his reputation. To restore his image, he had to think of a countermeasure. The wealthy man's plan was entirely based on the actual situation. This is the most essential point. The hardest part of planning is making it hard to detect. The wealthy man's plan had 2 major features. First, it turned the situation around. The beggar had slandered the wealthy man, forcing him to defend his reputation. He cleverly fabricated that the beggar had done him a favor. Therefore, he respected the beggar. This explanation not only explained the cause but also changed public opinion. It built his image as a grateful person who repays favors. This plan solved the problem and polished his reputation. It could be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Second, it took advantage of the situation. With a clever reason, the wealthy man easily expanded the plan. Not only did he restore his image, but he also found an excuse to lure the beggar with 10 taels of silver, making him fall into the trap. The more favorable the plan, the higher the chance of success. The wealthy man gave the beggar a small initial benefit, satisfying his pride and making him let his guard down. For the beggar, money was what he lacked most. Seeing the money, he would risk his life without thinking. All of this was within the wealthy man's calculations. Key point 2, understand human psychology. Human psychology is the best breakthrough because it is innate and cannot be changed, only restrained, not eliminated. Therefore, if you understand how to grasp human psychology, the success rate of your plan will increase significantly. Usually, there are 2 most prominent features in human psychology. First is greed. Humans are often insatiably greedy. As the saying goes, greed is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. It implies that when desires are not satisfied, people will do stupid things like a snake swallowing an elephant. Don't be too greedy, know how to control your greed. Greed is one of the biggest weaknesses of humans. Once a loophole is opened, it's hard to stop. If exploited by others, you could fall into eternal ruin. For example, in the story of the wealthy man, he exploited the beggar's greed. With just 10 taels of silver, he made the beggar fall into a deadly trap. As the ancients said, a person without sin but with treasure will be envied by others. Although the beggar had no enmity with anyone, when he possessed money he couldn't control, he became a target. On the surface, the wealthy man gave the money to show gratitude. But in reality, The 10 taels of silver were the knife that demanded the beggar's life. If the beggar had controlled his greed and not dreamed too much about the money, he wouldn't have met such a tragic end. Second, humans often despise the weak and fear the strong. This is an unchangeable feature of human nature. If you don't become strong, you can only endure being bullied. Don't hope that someone will suddenly have a conscience. Your concessions won't make them see you as kind but as easy to bully. Don't trust new acquaintances too much, and don't trust old acquaintances too much either. There's a saying, harming others is not good, but guarding against others is essential. Like the wealthy man's humble attitude on the bridge, it made the beggar misunderstand that he was easy to bully. Therefore, the beggar made more demands and even spread rumors. If the beggar had restrained his nature of despising the weak and fearing the strong, not provoking the wealthy man, he wouldn't have fallen into the trap and lost his life. Truly intelligent people leave no trace when plotting. In this story, the wealthy man acted very skillfully, leaving no signs. He satisfied 2 conditions to avoid public criticism. On the surface, he appeared benevolent, grateful, and repaying kindness by giving money and food to the beggar. But in reality, he had calculated beforehand, and the purpose of giving money was to push the beggar to his death. He both resolved his hatred and gained a good reputation, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The wealthy man plotted to harm the beggar but left no evidence. Whether it was the beggar or outsiders, no one discovered his true intentions. This is the quality that a top schemer must have. If actions are too obvious, you only invite endless trouble and may even be controlled by others, becoming prey in their game. People often say, where there are people, there is the world, where there is the world, there is struggle. Sometimes you don't want to get into trouble, but trouble finds you. Therefore, you must have a cunning mind, know strategy, and skillfully plot. Otherwise, you will surely find it hard to succeed. When someone offends you, should you seek to destroy them? The following 3 principles will give you the answer. In the old society, gambling dens were gathering places for all kinds of people. But there was a strange phenomenon. When a gambler lost all his wealth and stumbled out of the gambling den, someone would always give him a little money. The amount wasn't much, just enough to buy some food or take a ride home. Many people didn't understand why the gambling den was so kind, why there was such a rule. In fact, it's human nature. Because the gambling den knew that when a person had lost everything and had no money left, he could do anything. At this point, they were on the edge, very likely to do something extreme, either ending their own life or someone else's. Those who risk their lives, not even caring about their own lives, won't care about the consequences. The gambling den only wanted to make money, not take lives. Once trouble occurred, they would also suffer the consequences. Moreover, since ancient times, in military affairs, even when surrounding the enemy, they never attacked immediately. Even if the enemy was in a desperate situation, they shouldn't be underestimated. Many experienced generals often waited, not rushing to attack, but letting the enemy endure for a few days, exhausting them physically and mentally. When their spirits were broken, they would seize the opportunity and open a way out, giving the enemy a glimmer of hope to survive. For their own lives, the enemy would try to escape, and then they could pursue an attack, gradually destroying the enemy's army. Why do this? When you've already surrounded them, why not destroy them all at once? In fact, this is the experienced general's understanding of human weakness. If a person is cornered and knows they will surely die, they will fight like a cornered beast, regardless of life and death. Facing someone who doesn't fear death, even if you win, you will pay a heavy price. But if you give them a glimmer of hope to survive, they will lose their courage and only think of escaping. When they see hope, reason will prevail. On the contrary, when cornered, animal instincts will overwhelm humanity, making them reckless and extremely fierce. I tell you these 2 stories not to advise you to be blindly kind, but to let you understand that a noble person should not push others to the brink. Leaving a way out for others is also leaving a way out for yourself. To survive in this society and not be plotted against, You must understand these 3 principles. First, don't do things to the extreme. Everything has its limits. Knowing restraint will lead to success. People often say, people can't be good forever, flowers can't bloom for 100 days. The world is unpredictable. If you go too far, you are depleting your future blessings. Don't be too absolute. Keep a little kindness. When you leave a way out for others, you are also leaving the way out for yourself. Know when to stop. Keep a little affection. When you forgive others, you are also being treated kindly. Take the Battle of Guandu as an example. When Cao Cao defeated Yuan Shao, he found many secret letters from officials conspiring with Yuan Shao. But Cao Cao didn't investigate. Instead, he ordered all the letters to be burned in the hall. Cao Cao did this not to show tolerance but because he didn't want to be too absolute. Once you are absolute, there are only 2 possible outcomes. 1. Punish the ministers for colluding with the enemy while the 2 armies were fighting. That was a capital punishment. At that time, Cao Cao and Yuan Shao's military forces were very unequal. No one believed that Cao Cao would win. The officials only wanted to keep themselves safe, so it was understandable that they would find a way to escape. If Cao Cao really pursued the matter to the end, all those involved in the letter would not escape, and at least half of the ministers would die. This could teach those who hesitated a lesson, but it would also cause the imperial court to lack talent. How could an army with only generals and no soldiers become a strong army? Second, why do you say that you are harming yourself? If Cao Cao killed all the ministers, the imperial court would be in chaos, everyone would live in fear, and the people's hearts would be shaken. For Cao Cao, who had just gone through a great battle, this was not good news. If he pursues all mistakes, has no vision, and does not forgive his subordinates, the rest will definitely leave him when they have the chance. Moreover, if Cao Cao establishes the image of a man who only knows how to kill, I am afraid that no one will dare to join his army in the future. If this happens, Cao Cao will not be able to build a puppet state and become a great man in history. Third, profit should not be sought to the end. There is a good saying, if the road is narrow, leave a path, leave some delicious food for others. Reduce 3 parts for others to eat. People's hearts are reciprocal. You give others a step, they will respect you a foot. Life is like a chess game, each game has its own moves. Sometimes, leaving a way back is wiser than pressing step by step. Pressing step by step may bring immediate benefits, but will sow the seeds of disaster in the future. Leaving a way out is like a talisman, it will definitely protect your future. As a person, you must understand the following 3 principles. First, keep a few persimmons on the tree. Why can keeping a few persimmons protect the tree? Persimmons are for the birds. When there are persimmons, the birds will not starve in the winter, and next year they will eat all the insects on the persimmon tree. This is the wisdom of harmony between humans and nature. It is the same for humans and humans. If you take all the benefits for yourself, you will definitely become the center of attention. Second, keep a few bottle trees in the house. There is a story like this. The daughter said to her father, "Wow, after not coming home for a semester, our hallway has become so clean. It wasn't like that before." The father held the bottle in his hand and said, "Because everyone throws the bottle in the trash." Actually, throwing the bottle in the trash is so that the janitor can pick it up and sell it. It is a hidden income. That way, they will have expectations in their work. They will work more enthusiastically. Sometimes keeping a little bit of profit so that others can also benefit can achieve cooperation and mutual benefit. If people are too smart, calculating every little thing, not only will they be tired, but also make people around them lead themselves. Third, do not say everything. The ancients often said, "Words are 7 parts full, leave 3 parts clear." Speaking must be moderate, not only to help others have a way out, but also to show their own sophistication. People who say everything, even if they have good intentions, can easily cause misunderstandings for others and themselves. I really like a saying, words should not be said everything, it is to leave a way out for yourself, not to the point of later bringing shame on yourself. Life is constantly changing. Today is glorious, tomorrow can be devastated. There is no need to compete for victory or defeat, nor to seek temporary glitz. 7-part words can both attack and defend. Only by knowing how to master the measure of words can one create value in life. Saying 7-part words is like a drop of water that is full and will overflow, or the moon that is full and then waning. Saying everything, although it can help you achieve temporary happiness and attract attention. But once you are defeated by reality, you will have no place to stand. When working, you should leave a way out, and your words must be moderate. Remember that you should not be arrogant because there is always a higher mountain. Being modest and cautious is the right path. Whenever you leave yourself a way out, you are also keeping respect. Moreover, leaving 3 parts of affection in your words not only helps you find a way out, but also leaves space for others. Many times, there is no need to fight for survival. Minus 3 parts of face, we can still meet in the future. Being a person not only needs to understand people's hearts, but also needs to have a high emotional quotient to be able to move forward and backward flexibly and succeed in life.